Okay, welcome everybody to the inaugural television edition of the weekly Static Interviews. It is my distinct honor and privilege to have Patrick Fischler from Syfy's Happy here. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you as our inaugural interview.
Excellent. I'm very privileged and I feel honored to be the inaugural interview.
Great to have you aboard. I just want to say first, I know we were talking just before we started filming, that I'm a distinct honor of talking to you because I do the Happy live blog for Bleeding Cool, and I was also the one responsible for doing the Twin Peaks live blog. So, needless to say, a couple journalistically objective / geek fanboy questions to throw your way.
Please, I'm ready.
First, obviously, I want to start with Happy. To say Happy isn't your average comic book, movie, and or television show would be an understatement. What drew you to Morrison and Robertson's project from the start?
Well, what drew it to me, I got the script first, so I didn't even know about the graphic novel. Okay. And when I got the script and I read it, I thought, what the hell is this? And I loved it, and the pilot was written by Brian Taylor and Grant. And then, right after I read the script, I ordered the graphic novel so I could sort of see how close it followed it, and the graphic novel is brilliant. And so once I kind of compared the two, and Smoothie is really my own creation of what Grant and Darick kind of just started in the graphic novel.
Yep.
So I sort of, I got an idea of who this guy could be, and then when I knew that Brian Taylor was directing it, because I'm a fan of the Crank movies, and that number one, that Chris Maloney was playing Nick Sachs, I just thought, all right, I mean, this sounds like something I can't not do. So yeah, that was my introduction to it.
The one thing, and I say especially, I noticed this in the second episode in the scene you had with Detective McCarthy. You have a very, on one hand, your portrayal of Smoothie, it reminds me very Peter Lorre-esque, but you also have this ability, and in that scene it really proved, to flip the switch towards pure on like alpha menacing. What gets you into that mindset? Because it was impressive to just see how it just on a snap turned.
Well, that's funny because it wasn't written. It was so great about working with Brian Taylor, and I could just work with him for years. Is he's so open to actor contribution. And that is huge for me at this point. I've been doing, I've been acting a long time. It's 25 years now, so professionally acting. That doesn't count all the years of other acting. But
sure.
He's so open to ideas. And so I remember getting that scene, and the scene was very different in the original draft of the second episode. And Brian and I looked at each other at the table read, and he's like, it's not that exciting, right? I'm like, nope. It doesn't match nearly what the pilot introduces Smoothie, and it was fine. It was averagely good. And so the night before we shot, Brian sent me a new scene. He goes, what do you think of this? And I was like, yes, that's exactly it. And I took this idea from what he wrote and kind of said, I want to flip by the end of the scene. I think he's playing with her, but once it gets to a certain point, he's not playing anymore. Because that's what's fun with Smoothie is, he's really good at what he does, and he just loves fucking with people. And it gets to a certain point, though, where if someone else is getting the upper hand, he's not going to allow that. And you'll see that throughout the season with anyone, and I mean anyone he comes across. He does not let them get the best of him.
I would love to get your perspective on this, because going back to the debut episode, when the exchange between Smoothie and Sachs towards the end, there seemed to be a moment where they cut to you, and you have this great smile on your face, and there's almost this look of admiration, like not so much even worthy opponent, just like you're going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, thank you, and that's pretty much it. That's excellent that you caught all that. But once again, it's funny, the original script, I mean, I can say this because I don't even know if it's in the graphic novel, but Smoothie pees himself. He's scared of Nick. And so on set, I didn't say anything before, but on set, I sort of said, you guys, to Grant and to Brian, I said, I don't think Smoothie is remotely scared of Nick when he does this to all these guys. I actually think he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Smoothie's scared of death, and I don't think, here is a guy that he just thinks, wait, I love you. There's not a lot like you out there, because Smoothie, his job has become so easy.
Yeah.
And Nick does not make it easy. Because as Nick says in the pilot, he wants to die. And so for someone like me who, tortures people, and none of that's going to bother him. So I think in that last moment, as he's just smashing the heads of all of my guys, I think Smoothie is just in love and has so much respect for this guy. He's just like, this is going to be awesome.
It was portrayed wonderfully. It was one of the things that I took away initially from the viewing of that. And you're right. It's in the graphic novel. What I've loved about the show is that it's been adding a lot of context and layers to a lot of characters only 2 episodes in.
Yeah. And then we really, you'll see we do most of the graphic novel, but by episode, let me think, 4 or 5, it goes off and then it's just its own thing. I mean, it really, we honor the graphic novel. We do all the great stuff from it. And then it really becomes its own show in terms of everybody, like every character. And then there's lots of ones that aren't in the graphic novel that we introduce that are incredible. But really, it becomes its own thing halfway through, for sure.
I was impressed with the decision to go very quickly with the reveal about his daughter. I think
it's a great way to end the pilot, because I think if you don't, you need that hook at the end of a pilot that makes their emotional connection. Because really, by the way, a lot of the emotions come up as the season goes on. There's a lot of depth. But for that pilot, you needed that heart to make it feel like, as an audience, you're going to care. And I think that's why they did that. It's my guess.
Yeah, I think it says a lot for the first 2 episodes. And I do my live blogs usually with either 1 or 2 friends with me to get that natural viewer reaction. And it speaks volumes when in 50 minutes you can have somebody going from covering their face to literally wiping tears away.
Yeah, and that's really going to continue as the season goes on. There's some incredible stuff coming up that I'm so proud of and excited, and that will really excite people and then turn other people off. I mean, that's what I love about the show.
Yeah.
I hate safe TV, and I watch a little bit, but not much, of safe television.
Sure.
And we're in an environment now where there's, so many networks and streaming services that you gotta take a big swing, and I feel like we're doing that, and it's not a show for everybody, and if it's not for you, I'm totally cool with that. I don't, most art isn't for everybody, and that's kind of what we're doing. But you'll see, I mean, it's going to some incredibly funny and really dark places.
And you segued nicely into a topic that I want to jump ahead on in regards to television, and specifically in regards to film. You've mentioned, 25 years in the industry, working in both television, film, and working very actively. I remember it used to be the old adage about how you work film, and then when times are tough, you do television. And it seems like it's really just become the 180-degree turn. From you've seen that evolution. From your perspective, how do you think it's gone? Is that a good thing now? Bad thing? Are there things you're concerned?
I think it's great. Why not? I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's harder to get some jobs now because every single movie actor, we could probably name 10 that aren't doing television, but that's about it. I think it's great. I mean, there's so much more out there. Like I said, there's, I don't even remember how many original programs there were last year. It was hundreds. So it's hard. What I don't like about that is it is hard for shows to find an audience.
Yeah.
And I think the network system is kind of dying because what you have to do is a lot of people catch up on shows on Netflix. Yeah. And I mean, that's almost everybody I know.
Yeah.
And so you got to give a show time. I know like that show Riverdale.
Yeah.
Didn't do well. Didn't do great first season, but so many people watched it.
Yep.
Over the hiatus, and then it did better second season. Like that's what I'm hoping, sort of, with us and with everyone, that these networks sort of realize it's all different now. So you got to give a show some life, because people will find it on another way. I mean, we don't even have cable anymore. We buy everything on iTunes or stream it on Hulu or Netflix, and so I come to shows late. I mean, not often though, because I like to not have stuff ruined for me.
Yeah.
But the more it's all blending TV and movies. I mean, movies are really challenging. I'm one of my only friends who still goes to the movie theater, and I mean, my age group sort of in their 40s.
Yeah.
Most of my friends don't go to movies. They watch TV.
Yep.
and I'd say they go to like 3 movies a year, whereas I make my wife, go. We get all the screeners, and I still pick the ones that I'm like, I'm not seeing Shape of Water on my TV. I'm going to see it in a movie theater.
Exactly. For a movie like that, that's a special. But it's interesting because I think you hit it right on the head. Theater has now become a special consideration as opposed to part of something if you have nothing to do.
Yes, exactly. Now, when you have nothing to do, people just watch. They binge a show, or they watch. It's very, very different. And I don't want movies to ever go away. But look, the reality is they're not making the same quality of movies they used to. I mean, it's really hard. I'm all for. I'm a geek, and I'll go see all the Marvel movies. But I'm getting a little sick of them. I mean, at some point, I feel like it's hard to do. Thor Ragnarok was great, so I was totally into that.
Yeah.
It felt different, but the majority of them I end up seeing, and fine. But I understand why people don't go to movies as much, but I think the quality's better on television. That's why I think a lot of actors are, coming to TV.
It's interesting, and from the covering it standpoint, we always joke about how there are shows we just don't have the time to cover that 15, 20 years ago would have been amazing, standout, just shows you had never heard of. But you're right, the quantity of quality that's out there.
Too much. I mean, it's too much to watch. It's too much for you guys to cover. It's all too much. But then it's sad for the shows that,
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's hard to find an audience, and I hope, all I pray is all these networks and streaming services give shows time, which Netflix and Hulu, they really have learned it.
Yeah.
They don't release ratings, they don't release numbers because they don't want anyone to be affected by that, and they pick up almost everything because they feel like stuff needs time. So anyways, I love the more and more stuff there is. For me, it's exciting as an actor and as a viewer.
I would be remiss to not ask you, especially because you've had two distinct time difference experiences with David Lynch, with Mulholland Drive and with the revival of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So as a Lynch fan here, I would ask, from your perspective, has he changed as a director and as an artistic creator? Is he the same but just a slow evolution? How have you seen him?
Well, I guess it's so interesting. It was about, I'm trying to figure out how many years we hadn't seen each other in. Mulholland Drive I shot in like 99. So it was let's just say it was 15, 16 years since we'd seen each other, because I haven't seen him in between. It felt, to me, he felt very much the same, man. I love him. I can't say great enough things about him. I could spend this whole time talking to you about how great I think he is. I was a fan of his when I was a kid. I was obsessed with Blue Velvet. I loved The Elephant Man. I loved Wild at Heart. I mean, just, you name it. I mean, Eraserhead I saw when I was like 10, and I was already freaked out and blown away. So when I got to do Mulholland Drive, it was the thrill of a lifetime. And coming back to do Twin Peaks, in college, I was obsessed with Twin Peaks. I mean, we were fanatics of it, me and my friends. And we were in college. No one watched TV in college, but we, it was back in the day when we needed a VCR if we weren't in to tape it, which I did, because that's how much we loved it. So he's such a gentle, sweet, wonderful talent, and he is a genius. I loved being with him, and I hope I get to make art with him again, because he's incredibly special, and I loved doing Twin Peaks. I didn't even know, to be honest, really what I was doing. I mean, I got just my pages.
Yeah.
All my stuff was in an office, and I created my own little movie because that's all I could do, but I didn't care. I got to be in a room with him and have him, sort of chat with him and have him tell me, that's great, and, I mean, it's awesome.
Do you think, just based on pure geek gut instinct, because you and I are of the same age group, because I was in college during Twin Peaks, and I remember marking up my Secret Diary of Laura Palmer to try to figure out who the killer was, so I will completely own that. But so, as a fellow Twin Peaks geek, do you think we will see another season, or do you think this is something that he's willing to now let to interpretation and thought?
Look, I never thought we'd see another Twin Peaks from the last one, so I can tell you my answer, and it's not going to really matter. But I would say this: I think there'll be any more. However, I could be totally wrong, but I truly have no idea. I have no idea, and that's what's great about him. I just want him to keep making things. You know,
Yeah.
I want him to keep working because I just want people to give him money and let him do what he does. I mean, Showtime was pretty incredible. They really let him do, as you can see from what everybody watched. I mean, I think the critics went so wonderfully crazy for it, but a lot of people I know were like, I don't understand. This is so different than Twin Peaks, and I'm like, it's him. He's not the same man he was then, and also it's not on ABC, and it's whatever. I just take it all and I watch it and I let it all wash over me and I soak it in and I smile.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those, and I told a number of my friends at the time who were catching up, I said, you will not be able to judge this season even by one episode, by a group of 3, by a group of 6. I felt like I was not willing to judge it until I had seen all the 18 parts, and I felt it was very faithful to the series. I really did. I felt it was very faithful while still taking things in amazingly new directions.
That very much, absolutely. There was a connection for sure, and it was faithful and it honored it, but it really also just was its own thing, which I think it should be.
Yeah.
We're so many years later. I didn't really want to just spend 18 episodes with all of those same people I knew.
Yeah.
Whatever, 25 years ago. I don't know that those things don't interest me as much unless they have a spin on it. I'm not big on that, especially that big a gap. When it's 10 years, it feels okay, but 25 years, it just feels like everything's so different. The world is different, so the show should be different.
In regards to, and I always like to ask these broad questions, in either TV or film, in your career, was there ever a role or a specific movie or television show that you look back and go, the audience didn't get it. They should have gotten that. This was so much better, or not even so much better, but so much like, I don't know why it didn't connect.
That's a great question. And no.
Nice.
Because it tends to be everything I've done, I've either known this is going to suck.
I like that.
I have.
Good.
Or I've known this is going to hit, or I hope it does, or I hope people get it. I'll give you an example of something different, but it's a flip on that. But when I did the Black Dahlia, I thought the Black Dahlia was going to be great. And when I got that part, I thought I loved De Palma, and I thought the cast was really going to pull it together. And it was Dante Ferretti did the set design. I mean, it was an incredible crew, and I was like, this is going. I remember just feeling like my life is about to change.
Yeah.
And while we were shooting it, I was like, this feels weird, but I still think this could get 12 Oscar noms. In my mind,
Yeah.
it wasn't. So that was one. But it's the flip side of that. I think I thought something, and then the minute I saw it, I was like, shit, it doesn't really work.
But that's interesting. So you get a feel early on, you would say.
Well, you're there. I mean, look, you also can get, as actors, we get a little delusional. We call it, I forgot what, my friends, we all call it something when you just get mesmerized by the experience and you think everything you do is going to be great. I don't really have that, but I did shooting Black Dahlia feel like a vibe just happened. And I could feel that, look, and I'll take this, so I'm not putting this on anybody. I didn't think I was great in it. Like, I watched it and I was like, I'm not that good. And I felt like other people weren't good, and everyone was in a different movie. And there's some good performances. It just doesn't it's not cohesive at all. And, I mean, I was a fanatic of De Palma in the late 70s and in the 80s. I mean, truly, like, Carrie's one of my all-time favorites. I think I've seen Carrie about 28 times.
Yeah.
So I was so excited to work with him, and it just all didn't meld together well. It didn't make the movie that I think everybody wanted to make. And so that was one of the only times that I felt like this is going to be great, and it just turned out not so much.
Okay. And of course, the last big non-connecting get-to-know-you question. Your geek guilty pleasure, and we'll give you a choice, either from when you were growing up, or you said you were a geek, so I'm sure you got to have some current ones going right now.
Oh, totally.
Excellent.
Oh, God, guilty pleasure is so hard. Because, look, I'll tell you this. Here's one that I try to recommend to people, and they're like, it looks so cheesy. And I'm like, it's a little cheesy, but we're obsessed with Outlander.
You have, let me tell you, this is going to make 4 reporters on staff incredibly giddy. You know that. You should know that.
I'm sure. I just can't stop watching. My wife and I love it. I think it's great. I actually think there's some great acting in it. I think, but it's cheesy. It's every time I try to recommend it to someone and they say they watch a little bit, they're like, it feels cheesy. I'm like, all right, well. So I love Outlander. trying to think what else right now. I mean, growing up, don't forget, growing up, I grew up in the 80s, so everything was cheesy. Everything I watched, there was nothing, But look, I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and my daughter is now 8, and so when I took her to see Force Awakens, she was 6, and in the theater, because we watched all the ones on iTunes, and so taking her to see that in the theater was so incredibly exciting, even though we had the best time, and then I didn't really think about the movie very much afterwards, which was sad, because I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. We're going, there's a movie theater up here in Arrowhead, but it's not a good one. So we have to drive an hour down the mountain next week to go see Last Jedi at a great, big, huge 70-foot screen. I care about that kind of stuff.
I was just going to say, and yet it is worth the drive.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm not going to go to our local theater. Is just so crappy.
Oh, that is excellent. Patrick, I want to thank you for being a part of this. It was great giving me the opportunity to ask you some questions. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching this, do not forget, we are going to be doing live blog of Happy Again this Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Syfy. Check us out on Bleeding Cool.
Yes, watch it. And Smoothie's not in this week. It's his 1 week off. But still watch it.
Absolutely. In spite of that, please watch a great show, fantastic show. You'll enjoy it, and check out what you think. And if you don't like what I have to say, make sure I hear about it. But I'm sure you will love everything that I have to say. Patrick, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your family. Enjoy the rest of the decorating.
Thank you so much. Thanks, man.
Take care. Thanks.
Bye.